General Assembly that's currently underway in New York. Now, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif held an informal interaction with the US President Joe Biden on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. This is the first meeting between the two leaders. Earlier, during his UNGA address, President Biden made a fervent appeal to the international community to help Pakistan deal with the widespread devastation triggered by the recent floods in the country. The Pakistan Prime Minister also met with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. During this meeting, Blinken expressed concern for the flood victims in Pakistan and assured Sharif of US commitment to helping the country as it battles the most devastating floods it has witnessed in decades. And for more on this story, we are now joined by our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who's in fact covering the UN General Assembly in New York. Anas, could you tell us more about the meeting of the Pakistan Prime Minister with the US President? What are some of the issues that were discussed? Obviously, the floods topping the agenda.
Well, what we know so far is that it was an informal, brief conversation that took place between the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and US President Joe Biden at the reception that was hosted by him, which lasted for about an hour and a half. The interaction took place in bouts. There are no pictures as we speak because only a limited set of people were allowed, including that from the security and the protocol. That is why what we understand is that as we speak, there haven't been any pictures that have been released, at least from the Pakistani Prime Minister office's side. We're expecting or hoping that a picture might come through, but yes, sources on both the sides, both in the US admins and the Pakistani dispensation, confirmed that they had a brief conversation, and the conversation lasted, the conversation ranged from different topics, from economic stability to the floods, and more so it focused on the devastating impact the floods have had in the country. Neha?
Right, and Anas, it's not just the United States. Other nations too, including France, have assured Islamabad of all possible assistance as the country, as you just mentioned, is battered by almost unprecedented floods. Tell us more about that.
Well, yes, we've seen that the focus of this UNGA, participants of the Pakistani Prime Minister, has been that to garner support, both monetary and vis-a-vis aid for the flood-struck country. And he's holding about 40 bilaterals in the 4 days he is to be here in New York. And as for now, the response that he's been receiving, particularly when it comes to flood relief, has been something that, to quote one of his ministers, is overwhelming. That's what they say. We've seen that he held a meeting yesterday with the French president, and that was the first meeting of any Pakistani Prime Minister with the French president in 7 years. The last time they met, it was in 2015. So by and large, this has been responded very well, and the Pakistani side is keen on engaging more, and that is why we're seeing that today, or in fact today, when the date changes here in New York, on Thursday we'd be seeing the Pakistani Prime Minister interacting with Bill Gates. He'll also be meeting the UN Secretary General and other key figures as well, and he also has an interview lined up with the Associated Press. Neha?
All right. Anas, please stay on with us. We'll come back to you in just a moment.